my friends in Dollyverse. My name is Gypsy, but if you don't know me, you should know me, so subscribe. Okay, so ignore my messy background, but I don't give a damn today, so it is what it is. I'm gonna do a little introduction of some of my dollies in my collection based on certain features. So I'm categorizing them based on features, and I think it would be fun to show you all my dolls that have the Afro hairstyle, Afro texture hairstyle. So I'm gonna go through them and I'm gonna show you which dolls I have and share some of their details with you guys that are interested in seeing them. Some of my other girls that don't have Afro-licious hairstyles just wanted to hang out and loiter in this video. So we have Wailani here. She's a Poppy Parker doll that was gifted to me by one of our wonderful subscribers, Joseph. And I think Joseph is in, I want to say Texas? I could be wrong though. I'm bad at remembering certain things, you guys. But anywho's yeah, so she is actually on a Made to Move body, not her original. She's not on her original Poppy Parker body, and even though she looks like she don't care about whatever is going on right now, don't let that look on her face fool you. She's very involved. She's just a little standoffish, so that's why she always looks like this. But she was one of my Grail dolls, my first Poppy Parker doll. I have two currently. And over here in the corner, the redhead, that's our Black Widow, Scarlett Johansson sculpt. And she looks so much like Scarlett Johansson. So that was part of the reason why we wanted her, because we like that head sculpt. It's just a coincidence that we're also fans of the actress, but I didn't want her because she looks like Scarlett. I wanted her more because she just looked like a real human being. The likeness to Scarlett is very close. I styled her hair and I was really pleased to see how long her red hair is. I have a soft spot for redheads, you guys. Oh my gosh, I gotta show you another doll too. But anyway, so I'll show you that one at the end of this video. I love that she's got that serious look on her face. I mean, I like different expressions on my dolls' faces, but I really like the serious expressions. They just seem more like people instead of cartoons or dolls, I guess, when they don't always look very like smiley. I named her Berlin after my son's friend. He has a friend, a Russian girl, went to school with back in Carolina, and they still keep in touch. And she's like one of his artistic muses, so he likes to sketch her likeness a lot. So I'll put up a picture here of a portrait that he did of this girl, and he just kind of like threw her into this very beautiful setting. And yeah, but the likeness of her face is what he used for the drawing. So I named the doll after her. I'm so happy to share Griselda with you guys today because this one is a gift as well from one of our viewers, Cutie Erica on Instagram. Most of you guys probably know her for her outstanding photography and really awesome reroutes on her dolls. And she also makes outfits for her dolls, so she's very talented in customizing her dolls. You will not get bored like looking at her Instagram page, so definitely go and follow her if you're not already following her. But she was a gift from Erica. I have been terrified to take down her ponytail since I received this doll, because other dolls that I had that have the really tight high ponytail look, when I take the hair down, there's always like a giant gaping bald spot in the middle of the doll's head, so that the root job will look very tight when the ponytail is closed. I was very scared to take down her hair because I didn't want to discover a giant bald spot in her head. I haven't done it all this time, but last night I was looking at her hair and see the part that's in a braid, so that wasn't a very high ponytail. The mass of hair that this ponytail is, because when it was high up here, the ponytail was so long it actually reached halfway down her back, even when it was really high. The bulk of the hair in the ponytail, I was like, there's no way you're gonna get this much bulk in a tied up ponytail if she doesn't have a pretty good rooting of hair in her scalp. So based on that, I just had to use my logic and finally just get bold and take the hair down. So I did take it down. When I examined her scalp, I was very pleased to see that she has a very well-rooted hair. So if any of you guys are wondering about this particular doll or dolls with similar hairstyles to this from Integrity Toys, take the chance and take the hair down if you want to see what it's gonna look like in a different style, because if her hair is like pretty bulky, then it's probably a good chance that she's got a decent amount of rooting. So I'm so happy that I did that finally. And I tied her hair into a lower ponytail because I'm gonna gradually lower the ponytail more and more so that the crease in her hair from being tied up in the top will start to go away, and then she can wear her hair down, and the texture of her hair is very bone straight. I just tied it up. I put it into a braid so it can just be very neat until I get ready to do more customizing to her hair, because I'm very curious to see what she looks like with her hair completely down flat. I'm really excited, and I don't have time to be doing all that boil setting stuff with her, so I'm just gonna do step by step like that with Griselda. The focus of this video is going to be these girls here. These are my Afro-licious dolls in my collection. I'm gonna show you each one. Okay, so some of you guys are probably a little surprised to see that there are only 6 dolls here, and you have had a pretty close-up look at a lot of my collection. And just based on my Epic Doll Collection series videos, I have at least 100 dolls, right? So of that quantity of dolls, I was surprised to see that I only had 6 dolls that had Afro hairstyles. This is not quite accurate because I have other dolls that have Afro hair that they came with, like this hiker doll here. But the thing about it is that those dolls I don't count as part of my priority collection. So I have like my collection split into A, B, and like C priority. So the A and B dolls are like, A is my favorite dolls that I always want to have on display if I can, and then B is like my next set of dolls that I like that I'll rotate on display, but I don't always have to have them out. And then C are the dolls that I consider them part of my collection, but they're not dolls I need to have on display at all. So they're the dolls that I would probably use for like different skits and stories that I'm filming, and I need them for different types of characters, so they're more like the background characters kind of. And other than that, I don't necessarily have to see them all the time in order to feel, satisfied with my collection. So I rotate those dolls through. And then all the other dolls that I have that don't fit into the A, B, and C part of my collection, I don't really consider them a part of my official doll collection at all. They're just more like body donors, reject body parts, and like different parts of the dolls that I'm probably going to use to recycle and customize and things like that, or to use for experiments when I want to learn how to customize something, or if I'm trying to like work on a technique for something that I want to develop, I'll use those dolls for that stuff. Of the A, B, and C priority dolls in my collection, I have only 6 of them that I consider the Afro-licious dolls. I was very surprised that I only had 6 of them. So first I'll show you this one. And this is Miss Freshie, and she is a Fresh Dolls that was sent to me by Tevin, and she's the only Fresh Dolls that I consider part of my collection, because even though Fresh Dolls themselves, the company sent us some dolls to review, I liked this one, Mia, the best, and Tevin happened to send me this one. So those other dolls, I think I gave those dolls away to some like kids in my neighborhood or something. I don't even have them anymore. But this is the only one that I actually wanted to keep. So she's definitely got a very Afro hairstyle going on. She's on her original body. And I wasn't sure if I should add her to this category because her hair is not quite the same texture as some of my other dolls that I consider having Afro hairstyles. Her hair is more like curly. It's very curly hair, and it's just big giant curls, but the shape of the hair looks like an afro, so I figured she can kind of pass for a doll with an afro. It's kind of whatever way you want to look at it, you know what I'm saying? So it could be curly, but it could also be considered an afro. Afro hair in real life, they are actual curls. They're just very, very tight coils of curls that are really close together. And people who have that texture of hair, they tend to have a lot of hair, a big, thick mass of hair on their head. So that's why the volume will spread out and look like it's so big. People who have never experienced that texture, if they don't have that texture hair, it can seem so mysterious and like, wow, how can your hair be like that? It's so fascinating for people who don't have that hair texture. So I just thought I would explain that so you guys kind of get an idea of what it is that's making up the entire Afro look that you would see on like an actual person. And that's what these dolls' hair is supposed to be mimicking. So I named her Miss Freshie because, not because she's a fresh doll. It was just a coincidence that she's a fresh doll. But my cousin, one of my cousins and I, we have this like inside joke that goes way back into our childhood. And I can't really explain it because it's not going to make any sense to you guys. But we call each other Miss Freshie as like a joke that only we get. So it was kind of like a tribute to that. So that's why I named her Miss Freshie. And she is one of the fashionistas dolls from a previous wave. Her hair is definitely an Afro texture for sure. I mean, look at this. It doesn't get more Afro than this. But even though it's supposed to mimic coarse hair, this hair is extremely soft, you guys. Very soft hair. It's a really good grade of fiber that they used for this hair. So even though it's Afrolicious, you can actually brush and comb this hair and not have to worry about it like snagging. You just have to be careful, but I don't suggest that you guys brush your doll's hair that have Afro textures, only because it can make it more frizzy, but it can withstand the brushing is what I'm saying. If you actually wanted to try doing it, or if you want to like part the doll's hair and give it different styles, you can do that. This doll, her afro is actually really big and long. Like if you stretch this hair, it probably comes like down really far, but I have it kind of up in a loose ponytail right now. So the hair looks smaller than it really is. I named this one Kendra, and I of course named her after Kendra from Seasonal Frostbite because she reminds me of her. And she came with she was a fashionista's doll that came with a curvy body type, but I just placed her onto another Barbie's body that had joints that is also a curvy body type, so she could keep her figure but just have some joints. And also, you guys, like sometimes I make mistakes with the head sculpts, and I'm really happy that some of you guys pay attention and catch those mistakes and let me know about them. So like if you see me saying stuff, sometimes I'll get them mixed up because I'm thinking about something else and I'll like get them mixed up in my head. But like I'll know what the head sculpt is, but I'll say the wrong name for whatever reason. It'll just be like the wrong name stuck in my head. So correct me if you hear me saying the wrong names for some of the sculpts. But anyways, this face sculpt is what I think people named her like the curvy Carl head sculpt, which is basically just like a bloated version of the Carl sculpt. And the first ever curvy doll that was created that had the blonde hair, the long blonde hair one, had the same sculpt. So that's where we saw this face for the first time, and she happens to have that sculpt too. Next, we've got this doll, which was originally a Made to Move hiker doll, and she's on her original body. Very deep dark chocolate skin tone, and she is on a Made to Move body. And this doll was very highly sought after for becoming a body donor option for the dolls that had this very dark skin tone, which was really hard to match. Since this doll, we've gotten other dolls that do have the skin tone that are different versions of Made to Move dolls, like the lavender top yoga doll, and I think even some of the BMR 1959 dolls have similar skin tone, but they're just different body types. Like this doll here, she is the same skin shade, but this one has a curvy body, so you can actually use this BMR doll if you have multiples of her as a body donor for a curvy version of the same skin tone. So dolls in these skin tones should fit both of these body types. I actually started to micro braid her hair. I was gonna just braid up the entire fro because it looks pretty long, like the strands look very long if you stretch it, and I figured I would just braid up all her hair. But when I started it, I don't know what happened. I think I just lost interest or something, and I just stopped. I gave her like 2 or 3 braids way in the back here. And then I just quit. So I don't know what happened there. I don't know why I lost interest in doing it. I don't really even remember doing this, but it looks like I was trying to start a box braid session here. But anywho's so she's got, what sculpt is this? Bruh, I have a whole catalog of doll faces just by sculpt, you know. Hopefully I'll remember it when I'm editing the video, and I'll insert it here so that you guys can find the sculpt if you are interested in this face in different versions. And she's not really one of my favorites. I'm not that keen on her head combination, but because I'm not that big a fan of this face, I feel like if I had a doll whose face I liked better, that I could use this body for, I would totally pop her head off and like not even think twice about it. And this hair texture is very similar, if not the same, to Kendra's hair that we were just looking at. And Kendra's fro is like about as big as this one when you take it out of her ponytail. So this is how the hair looks when you like stretch it. This one I named Taina. All right. Ooh, that's nice. Okay, so now this doll, she is definitely got the skipper head sculpt. And that's one of my favorite sculpts by Mattel. I have quite a few skippers. I don't think I really need any other ones at this stage because I have so many of them in different skin tones, but I love the ones that are in the darker skin tones. And she happens to be like a medium brown color. She was I want to say she was a fashionistas when I got her, that I transferred onto somebody's body, and she has like a hybrid type of made to move body where she doesn't have all the joints. Like here, she doesn't have that joint, and her knees don't bend as far back. I want to say that this body is like a pool chic doll body or something, but I don't know if that's quite right because she has the joint here and pool chic didn't have that joint. I don't really remember what doll I used for a body donor for her. Definitely a hybrid. And her hair color is interesting because very light colored brown, a cool shade. This is like if you guys are into like extensions or weave, this is like a color 4. So it's a nice light brown tone color. Oh, she's wearing a jacket that I put Ginu's graphic on back there. He's got like a little, like a DJ unicorn who's digging through the crates for some samples. There's like a homage to his dad, Adonis, because Adonis is actually a DJ back in the day. Back in his day, y'all. Yeah, so this skipper, I named her Betty. Okay, so this lady has an even lighter shade of brown hair. It's more like blonde and pink. She reminds me of like cotton candy, kind of the way her hair looks. And her fro is not quite as big as these other girls that I just showed you. It's like a medium size, and it's just enough length to have like a nice round shape to her fro. And she is the drummer from the Barbie and the Rocker series, I think. She had an articulated body when I bought her, but I did not like the type of joints and articulation she had, so I switched her onto a regular made to move body. And I believe that she is the same skin tone as Pink Top, which is like the default Barbie skin tone, if I'm not mistaken. She is definitely got the Mbili sculpt. I still don't know how to say that name. Am I saying it right? Is it Mbili or is it Mabili or is it Mbili? I don't know, but I know the way it's spelled. It's an African name. Those of you who know how to spell this name correctly, like write it phonetically in the comments for me because I want to see how close I am to saying it right. Anyways, this is a very, very popular sculpt. And it's also nicknamed Grace for those of you who are a little bit newer to collecting. The Grace head sculpt is the same as Mobili, but sometimes they're a little bit bigger and smaller depending on which version you have. So she's got that sculpt. You can never go wrong with that sculpt, you guys. Every single version of that doll I've ever seen, every sculpt, every picture, they always turn out good. I named her Tijani. Lastly, we've got this lady who has a Kira head sculpt. They make Kira to look like an Asian girl's face, Asian features. She is obviously got brown skin, but she still has those Asian features. So to me, she looks very much like a Blasian girl. And this is from one of the latest waves of Fashionistas dolls with the dark blue lipstick. And she came on a tall body originally. But I swapped her onto this made to move body that is the same skin tone as one of the newer yoga dolls. I'm not quite sure what we're calling that doll yet. But I saw that doll at Target and it happened to fit her skin tone very well. It's not quite the same color as the like yellow top version, though it's very, very close. So you could probably get away with a yellow top on her too, but this particular body just seemed like it fit her skin shade perfectly, so I lucked out on that one. Her name is Shara. Okay, so yeah, but her hair, it's also black and very fluffy. This one, I can tell that she didn't have as dense of a rooting of hair. So she has less hair on her head altogether. It's not as thick as the girls in the other, those other versions, but it's very soft. It's extremely soft. And I actually had a different doll that had this kind of texture too. It was a Daya head sculpt, but I don't know, I think I got rid of her, or I wasn't that interested in her anymore, so she went into the reject pile or something. Lastly, I wanted to show you guys this doll. This is Gillian Anderson's face sculpt that they used for the X-Files 25th anniversary Dana Scully doll, and she's a redhead. And I just wanted to show you guys that I had gotten this doll recently. She's one of the ones that were on my current grail list. And I know I was talking about I really like redheads a lot. So when I saw her at a pretty decent price on eBay, nude, I was like, nah, I gotta get this now. Because, you know, these guys are retailing for like $100 right now, which is like double the price that they're supposed to be, because they're sold out and you can't even get them. And I didn't even see a listing for the Fox Mulder one. I had to just get her because I was like, I don't want to miss the opportunity and then regret it later on. But, I'm so happy that I added her to my collection. She's looking a little bit rough right now because I haven't had the chance to spruce her up, but I just wanted to show her to you guys real quick. And I did take her off of her original articulated body that did not have MTM joints. It was kind of like an awkward, you know, stiff articulated body. Like, that doesn't even make any sense, but it was. And so I took her off of that body and gave her a yellow top body instead. I think this is much better for her. She looks a little bit easier to pose and way more comfortable with her body. So I like her this way. I have not yet named her while I'm shooting this video, so she'll have a name soon. I just want to share these dolls with you guys today, and I'll do some others coming up, just specific portions of my collection based on certain features like their skin tones, their hairstyles, things like that. So I hope you guys liked looking at these different dolls and get some ideas for the kinds of dolls you guys might want to pull out of your stash to spruce up or to look for on your doll hunting journey. And I absolutely recommend that you go after the dolls that you love, not just what you think are, you know, the fad or the trend, because who cares? You have to live with your dolls and look at them every day. Don't get dolls just because everybody else has the same one. Get the ones that represent what you stand for and what you like in your collection. Happy dolling to everybody, and I will see you guys in the next one. My name is Gypsy, and you're watching Broken Dolly TV. I hope you all go and have a dolly day.